In 2013, from February to November, a grand total of 112 different drivers started a NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race. And now after 21 races, only one driver remains eligible for the championship. He's one of the true veterans of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, and his long climb to the top will end triumphantly this weekend. On the strength of a win and a series-high 19 top 10 finishes, all he needs to do is start tomorrow night's race, and he is the 2013 champion. Please welcome the driver of the number 88 Ideal Door Menards Toyota for Thor Sport Racing, Matt Crafton. And Matt, I suppose, it's been a long week for you, but has it gone by quickly these last 6 days?
Yes, the last 6 days have gone by very quick. The last 2 months have drug on for a long, long time. Like I said, it's been tough. I mean, a lot of sleepless nights. Throughout the day, you can keep yourself busy enough and kind of forget about everything and go on as your routine. But at night, you always wake up at 2, 3 in the morning going, oh, how can I lose this thing? And I was just talking to Austin and Jimmy. I mean, it's nice to have that big points lead, but at the same time, it's tough because you have to take a whole different outlook on how to race some of these races because you got that points lead and you got to be protective of it and you just don't want to lose it. You don't want to be that guy that's had one of the biggest points lead in Truck Series history and loses it.
Well, Matt, thank you very much for being with us here today. Congratulations on a excellent season so far. Good afternoon. I'm Kerry Tharp. I'm the Senior Director of Competition Communications for NASCAR and very, very excited about being here for Ford Championship Weekend at Homestead-Miami Speedway. And we appreciate all the hospitality afforded us by the Speedway staff. And on behalf of NASCAR, we're glad you're here. We're going to take a few questions now from Matt. I think you know the drill. We've been through this several months. But if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll come around with a wireless mic. We have 2 wireless mics located out in the audience. Please state your name and your media affiliation. Try to limit yourself to 1 question so we can get to everybody. But raise your hand and we'll take a few questions from Matt. I believe Jenna had a question right here, and then we'll move over to Tom. Go ahead.
Jennifer, AP, Matt, so if you've been waking yourself up and wondering how you can lose the championship, considering all you have to do is start this week, what scenarios came to you this week on how you can lose the championship?
I figured as long as I got to the racetrack, I'd be all right. I've thought about just sleeping in a rental car out here because I've got here at this point, but I feel pretty comfortable with it right now. And I said I've got 30-something other trucks that are going to be out there that all have my back. And like I said, Ty would still have to win the race for me to even if I didn't show up. So I feel all right.
Let's move across the room here to Tom. Raise your hand there, Tom. And I believe Tyler is going to get you right there. We got Tyler and Kelly running mics.
Hi, Matt. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. What's been the biggest challenge this season for you?
The whole season itself. Last year we switched manufacturers, and like I said, the first 2/3 of the season we struggled. I had a new crew chief at that, and so he's coming in. He had never been a crew chief at this level, and we're working together. We work very good together, Junior Joyner and I. And like I said, just figuring out and making sure we did everything right. And I think we did pretty damn good with it so far.
Move across the way back over here to David, and then we'll go to Lee. Go ahead, David.
David Carville, NASCAR.com. Matt, your race team owner takes a very low profile. Your race shop's up in Sandusky, Ohio. What is it that makes Thor Sport work?
One of the coolest things, that's what Duke has always done is left it in Sandusky, Ohio. That's where his business is from. That's where he lives. It's makes sense if you're from North Carolina and you have your race team in North Carolina, but like he always says, Boston Red Sox is in Boston. Los Angeles Dodgers are in Los Angeles. Not everybody has to be in North Carolina. Yes, there's, more people to draw from, but at the same time, it is what it is. And that's what really makes it so cool because he's stuck with his guns. There's been times where I'm not going to lie, I've said, oh, we got to have it down here so we could draw more people and this and that. But he's been dug his heels in and said, no, we're doing it out here and we're going to win races. We're going to win a championship. Like I said, I can't thank Duke and Rhonda and Menards for being with me as long as they have. It's been awesome.
Tell you what, we're going to take 2 more questions before we move along. As I said, Matt will be available later. We got Lee, and then we're going to end with Claire. Go ahead, Lee, right here. Kelly.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. First of all, do you kind of feel like you're the furniture row of the truck series, and can you talk about just getting your contract renewed and what it means to have that kind of stability with you and Johnny everybody coming back same as it was this year?
Absolutely. I mean, it feels great. I mean, like I said, the furniture row of the truck series, but I mean, we've been doing it a lot longer than they have. Like I said, Duke has been very, very adamant of doing it where we're at of, and just what's so good about being in Ohio, once you have that group of people, it's a lot easier to keep that group of people, and I got a great core group of people right now to work with, and going into 2014, I mean, there's no doubt that I feel that we can go do it back to back. I mean, if everything goes right.
Take one more question. Claire, raise your hand there, Claire, and then we'll, right there behind you, Claire. Thank you.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. For those listening live and who don't know you, because some people don't know the heart that beats inside of Matt Crafton, securing this would mean what to you? You know, what deep inside would this mean if nothing goes wrong and you pull this off as expected?
Oh, it's everything. It's, the family has worked for. It's what I've worked for since, God, since I was a kid. I can honestly say I had my first autobiography when I was a kid in first grade that says, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was a race car driver. So that's pretty cool. That's what it would mean, just the world to me.
Well, Matt, thank you very much. We'll see you a little bit later downstairs, and congratulations on a tremendous season so far. As I've said, Matt will be available for more questions a little bit later during our breakout sessions. This time, we're going to welcome back our co-host from ESPN, Hall of Famer Rusty Wallace.
Thanks a lot, Kerry. I'll tell you what, I do have a piece of advice for you, Matt. I'd sleep at the track and put a new battery in that truck.
I did ask the guys at the motor shop, you guys put a new starter on this thing, and we got a fresh battery, right?
Thanks, Kerry. Appreciate you bringing me back up. Up next, we got the closest battle of the bunch. This year's championship finale in the NASCAR Nationwide Series is essentially a toss-up. And we'll soon hear from the two drivers who will treat us to that unfolding drama. We've seen 32 exciting races featuring a mixture of veterans and up-and-comers. Let's take a look.
For the second time in his NASCAR Nationwide Series crown, Sam Hornish Jr. is going to victory lane. All-time Nationwide Series record, 4 straight pole positions, and a new track record for a second straight year. After Austin Dillon dominates, Trevor Bayne rallies, passes him late, and is going to celebrate his honeymoon in Iowa with a trophy and a trip to victory lane. Trevor Bayne is the winner. The championship leader is going to have a huge day in Michigan. Regan Smith wins it. The checkered flag and the win for A.J. Allmendinger in North America. He scores for Rocky Mountain.
Well, there is Sam signing the banner that the pole sitter gets to do. It's the second time this year he has been able to put his John Hancock on the Coors Light Pole Award.
We are underway at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
It's a great venue. It's a huge crowd. So to have a new venue, it makes it exciting, it makes it fun, and I'd like to be the inaugural winner.
It's going to be victory number 25.
When you combine that with a stat like 1,000th race, I think that it's almost too much for me to absorb at the moment to really understand what it is and what it means.
And now let's meet the two remaining championship contenders in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Coming into Saturday's Ford EcoBoost 300 in second place, only 8 points out of the lead, he's no stranger to championship pressure, a 3-time IndyCar Series champion. Please welcome the driver of the number 12 Alliance Truck Parts Ford for Penske Racing, Sam Hornish Jr. The points lead in the NASCAR Nationwide Series standings belongs to last year's Sunoco Rookie of the Year, a driver who has already won the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Championship to his credit. Here's the driver of the number 3 Advocare Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, Austin Dillon. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us here today. I want to start off with a question for each one of you. Sam, you're up first. You've won championships in other series, and you've won races in NASCAR, and you know the kind of pressure you're under right now. Talk about what it's like facing an 8-point deficit going into the very last race of the year.
Well, it's sure not the way that we would have liked to come into the race, but we feel like we've had a really good year at Penske Racing. number 12 Alliance Truck Parts Ford Mustang. We've been strong a lot of races this year, and capitalizing on the days that we're strong is one of the things that we need to continue to work on. But at the end of the day, I feel real proud to be in the position that we are, and to have the opportunity to win the championship. There's a lot of things that need to happen. We'd like to go out there and lead the most laps and win the race and do all that good stuff, but if Austin finishes third, that's all for naught. So we're just going to be smart, try to figure out the best way to do this. One of the best parts that gives me confidence going this weekend is our performance on the mile and a half so far this year, and the fact that we got to come here and test a couple weeks ago. We saved one of our test dates not knowing how things were going to play out, and it's a big gamble to look at Miami and say that we need to be the best that we can possibly be when we get there, but we had a feeling that we were going to need to be strong here. So saving that test day for here hopefully will be a real good thing for us.
Austin, you're in the driver's seat right now. No doubt about that. You've got one NASCAR National Series trophy already. What would it mean to grab your second?
Well, it meant a lot. We worked hard this year. God bless us with a great season. The 3 team worked really hard. We were very consistent, and that's paid off for us at the end of the year. Love coming to the mile and a halves. We've been strong there all year long, and Homestead was a place where we led a lot of laps last year. So I'm glad this is the last race of the year, and feel like we need to approach it like any other race, trying to go win. It would be awesome. We don't have wins this year, so to finish out the season with the win and championship would be great.
Okay, we're back up for questions now for either Austin or Sam, our 2 NASCAR Nationwide Series championship contenders. If you have a question, raise your hand and we'll come to you. We'll start right here with Dustin, and then we'll move to the gentleman right there. Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. Austin, you're entered in the trucks this weekend. Why are you even playing around with trucks with so much at stake nationwide? Aren't you? Isn't that going to hurt you in a way?
No, I think the best thing about it is I'll have more practice time on the track. I can do things as far as saving tires and not having to use as much as getting on pit road, practicing simple stuff. You only have so much time in each of the nationwide practices, and we kind of schedule it out where we use every bit of it for the core setup of the car. And for me, the trucks is more just something to go out there and be able to mess around, try different lines, and hit pit road hard a few times, and also have some fun, get away and have a little racing the night before our big day.
Take the gentleman right there in the middle. Raise your hand there, sir. Go ahead.
This is for Sam. Chris Green, South Dade News Leader. You guys mentioned how you were at the test here a couple weeks ago. From your perspective, how integral is that going to be to help maybe getting an advantage over some of the guys who weren't here?
Well, what you're doing basically is, putting your eggs in one basket, with the fact that we knew that we were strong on a lot of the mile and a half, but saving a test day when we only have 2 of them, throughout the entire year, saving one for late in the season at a racetrack that is basically one of a kind. You're saying that you feel like you're going to be in the championship hunt and that it's going to be close enough that you can win. So that was my call was to go to Chicago or one of those other places where you can use it for a multitude of different racetracks. But the team felt that this would be the best. And with Penske Racing looking at a drivers championship and a owners championship, they might have had the crystal ball on that one, and I think it's going to be a big thing because this is a little bit different tire. Obviously the track configuration is different than a lot of the ones that we run at, and for what this track does to tires and how quickly it wears them and knowing the line, I think that Austin's really right, having the opportunity to get out there and to run the truck race and to have a good feeling about how fast the tires are falling off, how quickly you need to move up, and how much you need to save them to be good on the end of a long run is all important things.
Let's go to Bob, and then we'll go to Dwight. Right here, Bob, and then Jenna.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. For Austin, if you're running second and maybe could take a chance to get the win, would you do it because you haven't won this year, or would you be conservative?
Well, it's all based on, I feel like, you'd want the biggest point lead you could have coming into this race. We've been dealt with a good point lead, but the thing about it not being super huge, you don't have to be as conservative because he's going to race hard and I got to race hard to stay up front. So you can't lay back and try and give any because there's not much there. We got to go for it, and we just calculated risks is what you got to take most of the time, and if we're there at the end, have a shot to win, we're going to try and take it.
Let's go to Dwight, and then we'll go to Jenna, and then Alan. Go ahead, Dwight.
Dwight Drum, RaceState.com. For Sam Hornish, obviously you multiple champions. You've learned something that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to learn. Could you share that with the team and the driver? Others out there that have the drive but haven't got there yet.
Well, having the opportunity to be in this position on a whole different level than what I was at 7 years ago on the IndyCar side of it, I felt like winning championships when I was 22, 23, 26 years old, you feel like there's a lot more to win out there, especially when you won pretty much 50% of the ones that you're in. But then when you take on the opportunity to try something different and you see how much you can struggle and you go through a lot of things in your life, it means a lot to be in this position. And this is all part of making it worthwhile and why I wanted to do it. I wanted to be challenged, and this has been every bit of that challenge and more. And this is just one more step or check mark to get into what my final goal is. And I want to win the championship really badly, and I feel like we're going to go out there and we're going to race hard for it. But we also know that doing it the right way and trying to do it the way a champion would do it is necessarily that's part of winning it. It's not about do something that you feel like you're gonna have to think about every time you look at a ring or a trophy or anything like that.
We'll go to Jenna, Alan, and then Tom Jensen. Go ahead, Jenna.
Jenna Fryer, AP, Carrie, I apologize. I have a question for each. So I'm gonna break
That's
the rule.
okay. One each. We'll go. That's fine.
Sam, how far have you come from where you were when you got into the 77 car to here, and is it far enough that you feel you've proved you belong in the Cup Series next year?
Well, I definitely feel like I belong in the Cup Series, and I feel like a lot of even what taking the step back was to prove what I've known for a long time, that given the right equipment and the right people around me of what I would be capable of. But each one of those experiences was really a learning. At one point in time, there was a part where, because I'd been so successful on the IndyCar side, I was going to try to pick the car up and carry it on my back if I had to, if it wasn't good enough. And by having a little bit different perspective of it, I really sat down one day and said, if the car is terrible and I wreck, that looks bad on me. If the car's terrible and we run 15th, that looks bad on the crew chief. So, and I think that, given a couple years ago, I would have taken what we had last weekend and probably would have ended up either 15th or wrecked. But by the things that I've learned and forced myself to do, and by saying that I can't pick it up and carry it, I can try to, get the best finish out of it that certain day. We ended up 5th and kept ourselves in position to be able to run for the championship. And I'm glad that I've had the opportunity, the longevity to be able to come out here and to be in it long enough to prove what I've known for a long time. And that was probably one of the hardest things for me to overcome also was how important the people are around you. This is more of a people sport than just about anything that I've ever been involved in, because you have to have the right crew chief. You have to have a great pit crew. There's so many things that are involved in the spotter. There's a lot of things that you can learn from your spotter and that he can help you out with. So I feel like, between, pacing myself back and doing what I'm capable of and not trying to carry the car, and also getting the right people around me are the two biggest things that have helped me out.
And for Austin, not to really dwell on the Martinsville stuff and Kevin's comments, but your Facebook post sort of addressed, I think, how you felt about what Kevin said, excuse me, in relation to the relationship that you guys had. I'm wondering what you do on track. Do you feel that you need to validate, do you ever feel like you need to validate the position you're in? And would a nationwide championship, I know you have a truck championship, but would a nationwide championship, do you feel you would be able to say, hey, I've earned this and I perform every week and I've not been given anything?
Yeah, it's definitely nice. I feel like, for me personally, I feel like I've done a good job getting to where I'm at today. Things happen for a reason, and you can't control certain things. And I've enjoyed this year and everything about it. But yeah, winning a nationwide title would mean a lot. Have it in your back pocket, and just gives you extra confidence. I don't lack any confidence, though. For a better lack of words, I guess, is I'm comfortable in my own skin and happy with where I'm at right now. So just focused on going out and having a solid run, and I think that would mean more than anything, as putting together a final finishing run this year would be great, and just keeping it solid all weekend long. We're going to have some fun, and our cars have been solid this year, and just trying to approach it with everything we can. It's my crew chief Danny Stockman has done a good job of keeping my head on straight, and I've always approached races where you take a car, you work on it, you get it better, you race it, and if you can bring it home in one piece, the next week we're going to take it back and it's going to be faster. And that's something I've always been really consistent and trying not to wreck too many cars and stuff, just because I've always kept that in the back of my mind. My grandfather and my dad both have always told me, if we come back and we can make the car faster the next time if you take care of your equipment.
Okay, as I mentioned, these two guys will be available later. We got time for one more question in this segment, and it's going to be Alan.
Austin, with just an 8-point lead, how much will you want to know where Sam is on the track on Sunday?
Well, hopefully we're up front, and we can do the math easy. If you're up front leading and running well, so I know how tight it is, and it's not a big gap. So I feel like we just need to keep ourselves up front, and it doesn't help anybody on the team to worry about that, me bringing it up and keeping my pit crew stressed out. It's more than just staying even kill the whole time. Can't worry about pit stops. You're given the hand you're dealt, and you have to go play with it. So we're going to stay focused and keep that in our mind, is to try and get to the front at the end. If I run in top 5, I feel like we'll bring home the championship title.
Okay, this concludes our formal portion of the NASCAR Nationwide Series Q&A. Thanks to Sam and Austin, and certainly good luck this weekend to both of you.